What's up, guys? Peter von Panda here. Hey, bought myself something. And if you think it's a Shinola, you would be right. Shinola Detroit. Picked up myself this watch. I'm kind of struggling here with where to put some light so that I can illuminate watches well, but not inundate you with glare. But I wanted to pick this one up because this is actually a fairly new model for Shinola. I know it's been out the last year, but it's the Canfield model, and they have it in three basic styles, and they're based on the movements essentially. Sorry for the little fuzz and stuff. This is the Argonite 715, so as you can see, it's just time and dial. It also comes in the Argonite, or the 1069, which is time with a subdial for the inset second hands. And then there is the Argonite like 1501 or something, which is the chronograph movement, which will have two subdials kind of straddling the middle, and it will have a stopwatch and pushers. This one is the basic one. Here's a little spoiler alert. This ain't the only Canfield I ordered. So check out my channel for more. But this is kind of the basic one, and I wanted to show it to you because it's a little bit different. I know a lot of people will look at this and be like, well, that's the Shinola Runwell, but it's not. It has a couple of very distinctly different things. And what's cool about it is you pick up some advantages, or let's call them differences, but I'll point them out as advantages. First of all, you get this nice, I think they call it like oxblood leather watch band, and it's kind of it's like a dark purple, brown. It's really nice. It's kind of rich. It feels a lot like, high-end wallet or a leather good. It's dark. It'll go with a lot of things. In some lights, it looks a little like dark blood purplish. In some lights, it looks just like a dark deep brown. And you could obviously pair it with another band if you so chose. It's 20 millimeters in width there, as you can see. And it has the Shinola clasp, polished stainless steel on this end. And the stitching is also the same color as the leather. So, all right, the cool thing about this is that it's a top-loaded watch. And what that means, as best I understand, is that instead of putting the crystal and the top of the case down and then loading everything from the back and then screwing down the back to it, they actually load it from the top. And what I think that does is gives you a really big dial to case proportion. So let me pull in another watch here, which is going to be very similar in a lot of ways to this watch. This is the Runwell, and this is the Canfield. And you can see here that the Canfield bezel is just a lot thinner. Now this one's even closer to you, but if I put them side by side here, you can see that the Runwell has this really thick case all the way around. And so what you get here is more nuance, I think. You get much more dial surface, you get a much more subtle polished stainless steel case, and then you can actually see where the case is pressed together, and that you have this little coin edge that runs all around the top of the top part of the case here. Again, rounded edges, and in a lot of ways, at a glance, it looks a lot like the Runwell in terms of shape, but especially the coin edge is kind of a dead giveaway. It also has that curved sapphire crystal, so you can see it's a little bit curved there. It feels great. I mean, it just, one of the things that I worried about, and sometimes I get watches that have really great 316L stainless steel and they're constructed well, but they end up getting to you and they feel really light. They feel lighter than you expect. But this watch still feels heavy and substantial, just like the Runwells do. But this one kind of gives you all of the functionality in the Runwell in a much smaller package. And so it, instead of a 47 millimeter case like this one is, and for you guys out there that say 47 is just too big, well, shed the bezel, or shed the case bezel, and just get the inner part here and pick up a Canfield. And so let me just prove to you that this is 43 millimeters here without the crown. And there it is, 43 millimeters. I don't lie. Now with the crown, it's going to be a little wider. 47, a little over 47 millimeters with the crown. So, this protrudes a few millimeters, and I want to see here. Looks like it pulls out. It is not a screw down crown like it is on the Runwell. it says water resistant to 5 atmospheres there, so probably nice gasketing there. Obviously, an edge to the crown, which makes it easy to grab. And then because it's kind of so onion shaped, it's easy to get a hold of. And then the Shinola lightning bolt right there. So in terms of setting the time and the date on here, on this particular movement on the 715, you pull it out to the first stop to adjust the date. So if I roll it up, I'm advancing the date here. And then if I pull it out to the second stop, I will be able to adjust the time. So that's how you maintain this one. And then just push back in and everything keeps running. Laser cut, polished hands. See there, ticking seconds hand. Presumably superluminova or glow-in-the-dark material on the hands themselves. We'll take a peek at that because, especially with them being really long and slender and a nice fill on both of those, it should be pretty easy to tell the time. Now, the other advantage of going to a top load case is that the numbers are also a little more subtle. So they're kind of smaller. They're cleaned up a little bit, in my opinion. They don't look as big and as overpowering as they do on the Runwell. And then also the hour and the minute markers are more subtle as well, thinner. They have even a greater gap to the edge than the Runwell does. Obviously cousins, but this one is just kind of like, it feels like a Runwell 2.0. It just has a lot of, refinements. It's kind of a watch that now looks a little more detailed, elegant, maybe intentional in some ways. So I really like it. I've actually been really excited about it. Now, let me be clear too that there aren't as many out there on the market. So if you're trying to find them used, it's a little hard, and they aren't super cheap. In this case, this is kind of the basic one, and as you can see there, $650. So that's what the time and date only is going for. I think it's probably worth it. If you want to wear something that says you love Detroit and you like watches and you're cool. But you can get a lot of watches in that price point too. And like I said, this was my own money on this, so I kind of pulled the trigger finally to check out the Canfields because I've just been so intrigued by them. Cool thing is, all of the printing on the dial is in this kind of off-white here, this tan almost. The numbers, even the areas that are presumably luminescent, blend very well with those colors. The screen printing here on the Argonite 715 and the Shinola logo. I like that the date wheel is black, like the dial here, so the number kind of fades in the back. The number printed on for the date is white, so that isn't really a straight color match to the rest of the watch. I don't think it jumps out at me and screams like that there's this major color problem, but it does clash a little bit, but in no way does it irk me. As you can see, the dial is actually set in pretty deep from the sapphire crystal, and you can also see that the numbers and the numerals, the Arabic numerals there, appear to be applied. Right? It might be a little hard to see, but they have some thickness, and they are sitting essentially on top of that dial. So it's just pretty cool. Like I said, it's the devil's in the details. I really love first generation stuff. It's can often be collectible. It's just cool. It's nice to see people breaking ground and doing new things. But it's usually in the later generations when you start dialing things in, and this really looks nice. And for a lot of the people out there that don't want to wear, that like bold watches, that like the Shinola look, but don't want to wear a really thick watch, I have heard numerous complaints. Not complaints, I should say, but people saying, well, the problem for me is getting the watch underneath my sleeve at work. When you're wearing short sleeves, it's no big deal, but when you're going to work and you're wearing a dress shirt or a cuff shirt that isn't really adjustable, it can be hard to slide something underneath it. Yes, you can get a Runwell in a 40 or 41 millimeter, but they aren't nearly as big as this. You can kind of be a little larger on the size, get all the functionality. I think this is a really great looking piece here. Again, just glaring the heck out of you guys. Sorry about that. And it's a nice watch to wear every day. I'm pretty impressed with it. This Shinola Canfield is really cool. If you don't know, if you haven't heard of Canfield before, if you're not from Detroit, in the original Detroit retail store is on Canfield, and Canfield has kind of been an area of resurgence in Detroit. There's some kind of lofts there, Canfield lofts, which are kind of desirable rehabbed lofts that you can live at. There's some cool restaurants and a brewery there. So it's a cool area, and it's nice that Detroit is finally named a watch for the street they're on. One other quick thing I want to point out here is that the backs of the Runwell here and the Canfield look very similar, but they are a little different. So they obviously have this Shinola design language here, but a couple things that are different is that you remove these screws in order to lift the back off the Runwell. I believe you would probably remove these screws to lift the back off here. So I assume that this kind of 1/3 of the case will lift off so that you can maintain the movement and install a new battery or replace the battery when you need to. But I haven't been able to verify that firsthand, but as you can see, just a little bit of difference. Even the lugs are a little thinner, and because it has like the secondary piece that pops off here, it's going to be maintained a little bit differently than the Runwell. Probably in no way will it confuse your local watch repair store, but if you're just taking a look at this and expecting it to be the same, the top load design does create some differences. So that is all I want to show you. Like I said, I have some more watches coming that I am going to bust out and give you a really good look at when I get them. So stay tuned. Peter on Panda. Out!